Hello everyone and welcome back to the World Cement podcast with me, your host David Bizley, Senior Editor of World Cement. The era of AI is well and truly upon us, with everything from large language models like ChatGPT helping people with everyday tasks, through to advanced machine learning systems capable of optimizing complex industrial processes, like cement manufacture, for example. Indeed, it seems like there's some form of AI involved in almost every part of modern life, so it's a good thing that our guest for this episode is none other than Scott Ziegler, CEO of CemAI, who joins us to help explore the role of AI in cement. Now, before we get into today's episode, we have a brief message first from CemAI.
Optimizing your cement plant. Empowering your team. CemAI presents the expansion of its AI and machine learning offerings by providing a new process optimization solution, CemAI Process Optimizer. Combining the power of AI and machine learning with cement-specific expertise, CemAI Process Optimizer enables a step change in production volumes, energy efficiency, and consistent quality output. Predictive maintenance and real-time optimization are now in your hands. Find out more at CemAI.com.
Scott, a very warm welcome to the World Cement podcast. Glad to have you with us today.
Thanks, David. I appreciate you having me here.
Now, before we get into some of the more technical questions we have for you lined up today, let's start off with a bit of an overview. Tell us about CemAI. Who are you guys and what are the origins behind the company?
So CemAI was created and developed back in 2022 when the Titan Cement Group decided to commercialize a number of their digital solutions that they had been developing for a number of years. Their main focus at the time was on plant maintenance, process optimization. And so the first solution that was commercialized was the plant maintenance side of things in the cement industry. And then further on from that was plant optimization. They looked at logistics, quality control. But the main focus of the commercialization at the beginning was plant maintenance and process optimization. And so over the years, we've been working to improve the algorithms, all of the facets of each of the solutions that we've been commercializing over the years.
Excellent. Now, one of the big selling points behind AI is that it can sort of completely change the way a business operates. So when it comes to cement, how much does an AI or machine learning control system actually change the existing control room?
It's important to remember first and foremost, before we dig into too much on AI and visualization, is the cement industry is long known as a very slow-moving, slow-to-change industry, high investment, a number of companies that have been around for a number of years. So it's a very slow-to-change industry. So when you start talking about things like digitalization or artificial intelligence, machine learning in an industry like the cement manufacturing industry, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time for acceptance, and it takes a lot of time for folks to get used to it and to bring that knowledge in there. I think it's important, though, to remember that adding these tools are the same type of things that we've looked at over the history of the industry. Automation, the use of PLCs and programmable logics, fuzzy logic. And as everything has progressed, we've just gotten to the point now that the way the industry has moved is we're moving into that age of digitalization. And so it's important to also to understand that the AI and machine learning aspects of the business can touch every portion of it. It can improve everything as I was mentioning earlier, everything from maintenance to logistics, safety, quality, all aspects of it can be enhanced by digitalization. And when we talk about digitalization, obviously the default position is we start talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Okay, so there's a whole kind of manifold array of benefits that can be derived across the process. On that note then, how long would it take to convert a traditional PLC or other system to an AI or machine learning system?
Well, it depends obviously on a number of factors at the plant and how, I guess, what we would call digital ready a facility may be. A lot of the installations and a lot of plants are actually already ready to start working towards digitalization. There is already a strong enough digital footprint to start making the changes now. When we think about how does someone get started, most plants right now have data historians and data collection capabilities, either through their current setup or in the basic control systems that they have in place. So there's a lot of the data that's required. And then we use the knowledge, and you have to use the knowledge of the folks that are already at the cement plant, the people and the employees at the cement plant as well.
Right.
So if you can really combine the knowledge of the plant and the data that's already available, it really doesn't take a lot of time to physically set it up. I think the biggest hurdle you have on time is the acceptance of this is a change we want to make and getting the buy-in from both the plant and the industry that now's the time to do it.
Okay. And speaking of time, CemAI has made some claims of a fairly quick return on investment when it comes to adopting AI. What kind of returns can producers expect to see, and over what kind of time frame?
It generally depends on what type of solution you're looking for on the digital side of things. Clearly, if you were making changes that impact productivity on tons generated or tons produced, knowing the value of cement and getting a very small increase in productivity and production is a big financial impact of the business. When you look at logistics, saving on fuel and saving on wear parts on trucks and lorries is a huge number as well. When we think about things like plant maintenance, keeping repairs and replacing parts to a minimum is a big impact as well. I can tell you that generally speaking, it should be accepted that something of payback that CemAI has is usually less than 6 months on the predictive maintenance side of things. And so you're really looking at a very quick payback on a solution that can make a big impact very quickly as well.
Okay. And speaking of sort of big impact things as well, does an AI production system impact the quality of the cement being produced by the plant?
So it can. Again, we mentioned about a number of different solutions. I think the one thing to take away right now is that we are still early on in the life of digitalization and AI in the cement industry. There's a number of producers that are faster to accept, that have focused on different areas of digitalization, artificial intelligence. And the other point to make here is that there's not one holistic solution that covers everything at one time. There's not a single program that covers everything from maintenance to logistics to quality and everything else. There's a number of solutions that are off the shelf that do impact quality, that impact productivity, that impact the maintenance and impact everything else. So when you combine each of those together, you're really starting to get a full digital look at what a plant is. Generally speaking, the more stable the plant runs within the conditions that it needs to run without upsets, whether it's a mechanical breakdown or an operating condition, the better quality you're going to have at the end of the day. And so combining everything together is really I think when you start thinking about the cement plant of the future and where it is as a fully digitalized plant is really the future of where we're going with this.
Okay. Another topic we sort of briefly touched on a little bit earlier about mentioning the employees at the plant. Which kind of plant personnel should make up the team that needs to be in place when you're applying AI to a cement plant?
Yeah, it's interesting that the first thing to say is we're not staring at the future where machines are taking over people and employees' jobs. I'll start with that. Because it's important to understand that these are tools, right?
Yeah.
Each of these things that we're implementing, each of the digital solutions that are implemented are essentially better tools that we've seen progress over time. And so they still need users. We still need end users who are improving the information, improving the data, doing the work. The days of the process engineers and control room operators are not going away, or simply enhancing their abilities on the day-to-day side of things. On the implementation side, it's actually quite simple. You really need focus from the automation and IT department. So you'll need some help there, obviously, on the connectivity and the digital footprint of the plant. And then with anything that's newly introduced to one of the manufacturing facilities, you're looking for a plant champion, someone to drive this, to really shoulder the work that's being done and champion it at the plant. On a day-to-day side, the maintenance inspectors use the predictive maintenance tool. The control room operators are using the process optimization tool. The quality control manager is using the QC tool. Your transportation logistics manager is using the other one. So it's really there to make their job easier, to give them the more data at their fingertips, to give them some help in making decisions so that their jobs are much more efficient in the long term.
Okay. And sort of following on from that, I mean, we joked about it at the beginning of that one of the most common concerns you hear about AI in the public discourse is that, it could take people's jobs. How do you manage that concern and keep a producer's personnel engaged and excited to adopt this technology that actually make their lives better?
Sure. There's a big move afoot. Obviously, the industry as a whole, I think you're seeing in areas across the globe, there's a significant amount of retirements and folks leaving the workforce. And that's just natural progression. I don't think there's anything fundamentally different in the industry. And so we also have a new generation of engineers, a new generation of folks who are much more in tune with things like AI, with the computer, have grown up with the mobile phone and mobile applications and all of the bells and whistles that come with that. And so when you think about that, they use a phone as a tool, the same way that we would think of turning a wrench somewhere. So if it's another option for them, that it just enhances what their job is there on the plant as well. The other side of the coin, though, is that it's important to know that we can detect a change in something like a bearing on the maintenance side of things. It still takes someone to go out there and physically make the change on the bearing, change out the bearing, do an inspection, verify what's going on. It's the same thing with the process. The optimization can tell you to increase certain feed rates and different controls. But if those controls aren't operating properly at the plant and they're not working right, you still need that person to verify.
Yeah.
It's that verification side of it that's still very important across the process of the plant and really it's not expected to change. The future may be things like inspections, drone inspections, some robot inspections in areas of the plant that we haven't been able to access before, right? Confined spaces, areas that are unsafe to enter. But we're not going to be replacing people with the artificial intelligence. These are tools to enhance the day-to-day work and the day-to-day jobs.
So it's more about empowering the personnel that are there rather than getting rid of them.
Exactly.
And so who are the typical decision makers when it comes to onboarding products like AI?
Well, there's two camps there, and we need them both to be aligned. One are the people who will agree to spend the money for the installations and for the digitalization change. And the other is the group of people who see the value in it on the day-to-day side of things. The purse holders will always make a part of that decision as well. But the plant personnel who can really find the value in enhancing and making their employees at the plant much more efficient in what they do in a day-to-day, moving out of the world of firefighting with maintenance or constantly having 5 different set points on an operating because you've got 5 different control room operators. Looking for stability across the plant really makes everything work better. It makes the plant more efficient. It makes productivity better. It gives people the opportunity to focus on other things in the plant that may need focus. So again, I think it's a good way for the plant to enhance what they've got and to make the most out of the employees that they have and make them much more efficient.
Excellent. Now, in the UK recently, and I'm sure this has happened elsewhere, but there have been several sort of high-profile cases of pretty major businesses like Jaguar Land Rover falling victim to cyber attacks. And they've had to temporarily shut down production, costing potentially billions of pounds. What kind of cybersecurity or data governance measures are required to ensure safe and reliable AI deployment in a cement plant environment?
David, it's one of the most important things that we start talking about with potential customers and plants on day one, which is really what is the IT infrastructure in place, both the IT and the OT infrastructure that's in place, and how can we enhance what may already be in place? Because we are talking about looking at terabytes of data on an annual basis per plant. It's a significant amount of data, and it's a significant amount of investment made with that data in order to improve it. I'll tell you, there's still a number of ways for implementation. We all hear about the cloud and what the cloud may or may not be. There's opportunities there with the cloud, but in that one, you've got some very strong built-in encryptions. Cloud-based servers are not less secure. I'm actually quite secure with encryption and threat monitoring. On premises, it's important to know that we have things like additional firewalls. Any of the algorithm work or any of the AI and machine learning algorithms and software are usually isolated from the plant's general network. We also have, when it comes to being able to access the system with that remote access, we have everything from encrypted VPNs to IP whitelisting. So there's a way to do that. And again, the data, the algorithm, they live on a restricted environment. It's not as if it's sitting out on a general server where it can have access to it. Now, all that being said, there will always be threats. And so we do the best that we can in order to minimize that. I think the opportunity to understand that different types of AI do different things in the plant as well can certainly increase and decrease the risks when it comes to it. But above and beyond the basics are really the plant-specific IT/OT infrastructure as well.
Okay, excellent. Well, before we wrap things up for this episode then, do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
I started to say this about 6 months or so ago. We've been, like I said, we've commercialized CemAI. We're going on, this will be our 4th year in 2026. And I think broadly speaking, some of the colleagues that I have in other areas of AI and machine learning in the industry, we always discuss the long lead time, the long decision it takes for someone to make the decision to go forward with it. But in every case, once the plant has taken that first step, it really starts to see the value of it and gets excited about the opportunity. And we've got a pretty famous footwear company here in the US, and their tagline is "Just do it."
I think they're pretty famous everywhere, to be fair.
So I think it's, that's it. Take the first step. The opportunity is there to learn. The opportunity is there to continue to enhance. I think there's 2 things that it leads to. One, it's improving the day-to-day. It's improving the plant's opportunity. And it's enhancing the company's ability to improve their own, right? If you start early, you can help start to drive some of the decisions made in the AI and the machine learning world for the industry. And it's better to be out front. So it's just get started. Take the first step, just get started. And the risk is very low compared to the reward.
Okay, excellent. Well, that is all the time we've got for this episode of the World Cement Podcast. Scott, thanks so much for your time today and for sharing your insights into this exciting new frontier.
David, thank you very much for the time.
Thanks again, Scott. And of course, thank you to every one of you in the World Cement Podcast audience as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please make sure to give it a good rating and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And while you're at it, why not go back and check out some of our previous episodes as well. Thanks again, and goodbye for now.
Optimizing your cement plant. Empowering your team. CemAI presents the expansion of its AI and machine learning offerings by providing a new process optimization solution, CemAI Process Optimizer. Combining the power of AI and machine learning with cement-specific expertise, CemAI Process Optimizer enables a step change in production volumes, energy efficiency, and consistent quality output. Predictive maintenance and real-time optimization are now in your hands. Find out more at CemAI.com.